Good morning. My name is Donna Rodman. I am a registered landscape architect in Vancouver, British Columbia, and this will be part of a series of videos that I'm creating in an effort to market my small firm called Our Designs Landscape Architects and Associates. I'm a retired nurse who left nursing. I had a very promising career as an ICU critical care nurse many years ago, and left nursing because I was galvanized to change how the built environment in healthcare facilities supported and enhanced the work of nurses and physicians, and helped with the healing process of our patients and our clients. So I did go leave nursing knowing I had other skills, even though I loved the profession and I was a good nurse. So to see if I could change the environment that we were working in. I believe firmly in nature as a strong healing force in medicine, and historically it is true that it often nature and gardens were used in a restorative capacity. So one of the things that's happening, and what I really am working hard towards, is giving a voice to my former profession of nursing, to show that we can be leaders in healthcare design. And once you're a nurse, you're always a nurse. And I also tend to believe that once you're a registered landscape architect, you're always a registered landscape architect. So we really, with the combination, the background I have, am seeking to help leaders tap into one of the underutilized resources in the planning and design of clinical environments. And they're actually nurses and the physicians, but primarily nurses get left out of the discussion when a healthcare facility is being planned and designed. So it's been a long journey, and here I am after that long journey. I'm currently working on a manuscript with two physicians, and we are preparing a book. Our audience will be the design profession and students of architecture, landscape architecture, hopefully nurse practitioners and hospital administrators. And it's dealing with healthcare planning and design. We are addressing and to illustrate case studies in medicine research, medical research, and design features responding to the influence of nature and green spaces and healing gardens, or gardens generally, in human contact, their capacity to influence our psychology and physiology. So we are looking at clinical research work as well as design case studies in the implementation of restorative garden design in a healthcare facility, a group home, a medical precinct, for example. So it's an important piece of work. It'll probably take 3 years to do, and I'm really looking forward to collaborating in the writing and co-authoring with two of my physician colleagues. So to explain a little bit, the restorative garden is among many varieties of gardens which incorporate human scale and functionally beautiful landscapes. They address physical, psychological, emotional, and social needs of visitors and participants, of patients, of staff as well, in quite a number of different settings. I recently had the experience of being in the hospice garden at the North Shore in North Vancouver Hospice, and with my mum, and it was quite an experience to be able to take her out into the garden and take a wheel about for her to see the plants and the flowers in that space. In addition, of course, we spent a lot of time in my own garden, which I've already videoed a little bit of, in order for her to relax, and she really looked forward to those outings. So gardens were found in medieval courtyards and were part of Christian charitable foundations attached to hospitals and monasteries, nursing the unwell person primarily. The evolution of the paradise garden sometimes seem the earlier histories of restorative gardens included paradise gardens, or the Islamic garden design philosophy of creating an Eden in a space. But it was quite, those gardens were very restricted to the actual class of people who could enjoy that garden space. So in Christian charitable foundations, they tried very hard to create the restorative experience in courtyards and open spaces within the surrounding hospitals of Renaissance and Reformation Europe. And a lot of them were left as anomalies of local wealth and local architectural tradition. With a few exceptions from then on, restorative gardens were excluded from healthcare facilities at a given point. John Hopkins Hospital in 1875, thereabout, established what was known as the pavilion style, accompanying gardens and sun decks and sunroofs. And one of our illustrious leaders was Miss Nightingale. Florence Nightingale advocated significantly for the fresh air and the access to sunlight and open spaces as part of the healing process while she was revolutionizing the nursing profession during her time as well. So since that period of time, there's been a minimization of garden spaces, and it continues today to a certain extent, run by budgets and often reduced in size and impact because of budgets. So that's one of the reasons why myself and my two colleagues are working on this book, to influence and to help give the rationale, the clinical rationale, for why we are designing and want to introduce green spaces into healthcare facilities and medical precincts. We are looking at the restoration experience not only from a clinical point of view, but the ideas of how restoration develops independence, stabilization of emotions, reduced tensions, enrichment, satisfaction and pride, relief from the boredom of the institutionalizing experience, in and out, day in and day out, of the same kind of a routine in the same space. And so we go to seek aesthetic and intellectual pleasure and stimulation in these green spaces in hospitals. We look for sensory stimulation and learning of form. We look to give enjoyment and excitement about growth, about new spring, the new growth of a plant that gives hope and inspiration to patients and helps relieve the stress that staff are going through. And it is also within the confinement of an institutionalized stay that we have to try to expand the patient's perspective on their life, because they are so regulated and so controlled within a healthcare setting. This not only goes for adults, it goes for children, and had the privilege of going to several pediatric hospitals in the course of my interning as a registered as a landscape architect when I was a graduate student. So it covers the whole gamut of age groups. We have each person has a unique ability to read and find a way through the environment. Theories of holistic environmental knowing include, and I'm going to read a little bit, object perception, the natural but often unfulfilled ability of the body to sense nearby objects, obstacles, and danger, and body subject, the natural ability of the body to move with neither conscious awareness nor effort through its environment. So our sense of a natural environment is almost subconsciously recorded and maintained. And that's where memory also comes from when we go through a natural space. So one of the topics and one of the chapters of our manuscript will talk about aroma and scent in the garden and its physiological and psychological impact on us as humans, and where it impacts us, not only from the brain organs that the aromas stimulate, but also that it directs our memory and our emotions, and where we pick that up from the smell and scent of a garden, of a flower, of a rose, for example. So the saying that you have to stop to smell the roses is very, very true. There is a reason why we are so stimulated by those different scents that we have. Childhood memories come bubbling up to the surface and help, especially with seniors in gardens, for example with Alzheimer's, where there's a restorative process as the senior is out in the garden. And those happy memories help soothe that senior and help with controlling the episodes that often accompany the Alzheimer's process of feeling agitated and fearful. So the garden is very helpful in managing those kinds of responses. So the body is always actively reacting and collecting information with respect to physical presence, with respect to memory of landmarks and cues. And with practice, we can develop and enhance those sensations, reduce distraction, elevate consciousness and perception. So those are very esoteric type of responses, but there are actually responses in your blood pressure, in your eye pressure, your spinal cord pressure. There's responses in the skin, respond in the sense of the skin sensation in a garden. So these are pieces of clinical information that are currently part of our literature search in determining the impact of nature and gardens on our physiology and our psychology. And some of this stems from work that research work that I've done long time ago, even before I was in nursing, and looking at human factors and confinement for actually within the space exploration program. So it's really special that we can bring this information forward and share it with our colleagues, and both in medicine, nursing, as well as our colleagues in design. So it takes the garden, the restorative garden creates a benevolent setting, and it helps a person take steps forward in confidence while they're in a hospital setting, where they really have a lack of control. This is especially true of children who have no control over what's going on in the hospital setting to them. And nurses are very careful of how they work with children who need a sense of control. Plants take away anxiety and tension of the immediate, and they show us that there are long, enduring patterns in life, peacefulness and tranquility. This offers a sense of control, and particularly also for people with disabilities, it also offers a sense of independence and influence on how they can shape the environment in which they are now living. It allows for escape. It can give a purpose at a human scale for activities like horticultural therapy. It can provide a home-like experience in a hospital setting. And it also provides a variety of experiences when the person is also feeding birds, seeing butterflies, looking at bees, working around flowers. It extends their living experience. It gives self-expression in a garden, and it personalizes a space. There may be a particular space in that healthcare garden that a person will go to and sit and just re-experience the home-like feeling or the independence in that one space. It gives motivation for physical exercise, social interaction, and networking with other patients. So there's quite a number of things that a restorative garden can offer in a healthcare facility. I will close off this video now, and if you would like to reach to me, you can. My email is Donna, D-O-N-N-A, at ourdesigns.ca. I'm very happy to receive questions, and please stay tuned for possibly another video. I'm going to continue this effort of communicating, and I hope you found this helpful. Bye for now.